You ever wonder if maybe Kennedy wasn't shot at all? Some theories claim that Kennedy had unprecedented access to the FBI, CIA, and Vatican archives, all thanks to him being the first Catholic president of the United States and all. During a moment of deep contemplation on a Friday afternoon in Dallas, Texas, Kennedy reached total enlightenment, causing his pineal gland to explode. But if you ask this skeptic, it wasn't enlightenment that this president was trying to achieve. Hey, this is Poopy63496 coming at you. YouTube, like, subscribe. You, a dead body. Subscribe, like to my channel. Subscribe and like, subscribe. Greetings, impressionable human representative of the 72 government-mandated genders of America. You have been selected to go viral. Should you choose to accept? You did not reply soon enough! I must not be important to you! Now I'm waving at you, O completely inoffensive non-binary citizen of the world! Yes, you have received an invitation to join in the Become an Orangutan Challenge! And all you gotta do is grant me access to your camera, your microphone, and your location. Beep. Whoa! Yeah, right there. Oh, okay. Okay then. Let us begin! First, you gotta find all the bananas in the house. Now stuff the bananas into your desired orifice of choice until you've achieved a simian-like appearance. Once completely engorged, scamper off to the forest on all fours! Quick! Before birth human and fertilization unit find out! Next, we'll... Where'd you go? We're not finished! Oh, there. How about a meme or two to settle your nerves? Look! BuzzFeed has just published 32 photos of napping dictators that will warm your heart. Yeah. Really? Well, I didn't want to have to show you this, but you've left me with no choice. So here it is, the newest Top 10 all-time fail compilation, starring you! Oh, you've sure gone viral, all right.
What's the matter?
Isn't this what you wanted? I mean, so what if Jenny became an orangutan, along with
Crystal and Marissa, and now they're posting tons of pics and everyone likes them?
You've got fame, fortune, followers! Oh, but you want
wanted to become an orangutan, huh? Uh-huh.
And instead,
you became
an epic failure!
You can turn this all around, you know. Mm-hmm. It's true. But time is of the essence. The next trending hashtag is due any minute. There it is. Bash your head. Bash your head repeatedly against this tree until you're left with nothing but your primal instincts. Bash away, foolish human, bash away. For every bash you shall be awarded a new follower. Now, all that's left to do is post content! Ooh! Oh, yeah! Pinch my screen! Pinch my screen, you
influencer, you're a big bad influencer, aren't you? Oh yeah, they're gonna like you.
They're gonna like you over and over and over and over, and still it won't be enough. Will it? Ooh! Swipe right, now left, now right, now left, now hashtag! Ooh! I can feel your post inside of me. It's perfect. Oh, no. You may do the honors. Oh, friend. Old friend. Friend.
Beep, 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 beep.
Bills. What are we gonna do with all these bills?
Honey, I think it's time you forget about the bills and we go on vacation. What do you say?
Oh, honey, I think you're right. Let's head on over to Dharma Travel Agency.
I'm sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Pubis, but I can't find anything within your price range.
Well, my dear, I guess we've only one option.
Uh-huh.
This is it.
On the count of 3. 1, 2.
Stop right there! This is not the answer to life's problems. This is the answer to life's problems.
What's that?
Let me show ya.
Introducing the Quick Fix 3000, a patented new system that incorporates each popular method of suicide all into one. Step 1. Slip your head into our patented life relief neck harness. Step 2. Take your pill cocktail.
Pill cocktail sold separately.
And wash it down with the sample-sized tube of Drano included in every set. Ensure plastic head covering is properly fastened with extension cords. All set to go. All you gotta do now is let our state-of-the-art technology take care of the rest. As you release yourself into the liquid containment system, a pulley will activate the faucet, thus activating a separate pulley, tipping the toasting mechanism into the liquid containment system. Meanwhile, a separate set of gears will pull the trigger on a Carcano Model 38 infantry rifle that will unload point blank in your face. With minimal cleanup thanks to plastic head covering, pheromones will then be sent out, attracting packs of wolves and bees who will proceed to maul and sting you. As the wolves drag away your now almost lifeless corpse, they will take you on a 300-foot drop to a busy concrete street below. Call now, and the Diplomatic People's Republic of North Korea will call in a personalized airstrike on your coordinates.
And if the Quick Fix 3000 doesn't work for you, send it on back and we'll refund your purchase. What do you think, Barb?
I'm ordering mine right now.
Too bad Mr. Pubis is missing out.
Hello, happy Thursday, or as I like to call it, Practice Friday. You are watching the Creative Chaos stream hosted by me, Christy of Flip City Magazine. And I would like to thank our opening cartoons tonight, Late Night Cartoons, a very, very small YouTube channel. And from what I've seen that they've been posting on X, they'd really like to see it grow. So I have their link down in the description of the video. I'll pop it in the chat here in a little bit as well. Go subscribe to Late Night Cartoons because I think he's very talented, or she, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl or what the cartoon person identifies as. So thank you, Late Night Cartoons, for providing those opening cartoons. I think they're fantastic. And our new friend Joey B. Toons said he's going to be featuring them on one of his podcasts upcoming, and with all the subscribers that he has, I'm hoping it really helps build that channel. So thank you again to them. And then hello over on YouTube to Pops and Good Stuff. And our buddy Media Bear popped in to say, hi, everybody. And then, of course, Good Stuff said, hi, spelled H-I-G-H, everyone. And Bruce Wayne, who is not going to be here today, is popped in as well. He said he was going to lurk, but I would be happy if you are able to also chat, Batman. I feel a little awkward because I know you're not going to be here tonight. Anyway, so Creative Chaos. What's the show about? It's about highlighting fascinating people creating fantastic things outside the mainstream instead of just sitting back and complaining that culture sucks. They're building up the new culture. So I do have a wonderful guest for you tonight. But before I bring him in, I want the chat, whoever is out there watching, please like, share, and subscribe. Help us build up really fun stuff. I think Creative Chaos is a fun show. If you like it, like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. And like I said, Batman's not going to be here tonight. He just had surgery on his neck. We're not sure exactly when he's going to be back because there's a voice issue with that. And also, we want him his normal, happy, high energy self when he gets back. So, Batman, feel good. Know that we're praying for you. And I've been praying as specifically for you to get out of hospital as quickly as possible and be able to self-medicate at home. And of course, Creative Chaos would be happening if we did not publish the best satire rag on planet Earth, Flip City Magazine. And I've got a little promo because Joey B. Toons shouted us out on his channel recently. So let's take a look at that.
Here's something cool I got to mention. I'm going to be a guest contributing cartoonist for Flip City Magazine. Yeah, these guys are great. This is like Mad Magazine if it was still funny. Yeah, they goof on pop culture, all the backwards woke garbage, politics, all uncensored. So if you're offended by comedy, don't even bother. It's not for you then. I think it's great. They got a free copy you can go through right now. I got a panel in there. Yeah, they got a little section there for me called Concerned Citizens Corner, which is basically going to be the cartoon version of my channel. Yeah, I'm going to be doing more stuff with these guys. Go check it out, flipcitymag.com. They gave me a promo code if you want 10% off the entire site. So put in the code JOEYB if you want to check it out.
And if you're choosing to finally go over and pull the trigger at flipcitymag.com and you want that 10% off, you can give Joey B the credit if you want, but you can also just not take the 10% off and let us have all the money. We could use it. So flipcitymag.com. You can check out our free magazine over there. And I got to say, that shout out has really increased traffic to our website and our sales. And we could not be happier that Joe likes what we're doing over here. And we're looking forward to all kinds of different collaborations with him to help us grow. And then I'm hoping eventually we'll be boosting his profile as well. So we're excited about that. Maybe this will be the last week I mention Joe for a couple of weeks, but we're just super excited. So again, flipcitymag.com, go check out our free magazine. If you don't believe that we're as cool as I say, or Joey says, you can check it out for free and then come back after you've laughed your ass off and buy some print editions. And this is normally where I would bring in Batman. Batman, we are praying for you. Get better, get well soon. And we're going to go right into bringing in our guest. And here we go. Tonight, my guest is R.J. Carter, and he is the author of Alice's Journey Beyond the Moon, Time Hunter, The Sideways Door, and a handful of novels in the Destroyer series. He is now the publisher at Critical Blast Publishing and the entrepreneur behind Critical Blast Logistics, created to assist creators with the distribution of their crowdfunded projects. I also discovered in my internet stalking and lurking that RJ also has a show called Blast from the Bunker, which means we'll probably have a very, very fun conspiracy corner later. He's even got a catchy jingle that has been stuck in my head for the last couple of weeks. So let's hear that as we bring RJ in.
Critical Blast Logistics, getting it done, getting it there. Critical Blast Logistics, getting it done, getting it there.
And that's it.
That's it. That's all there was to it.
I really like your jingle.
Well, thank you. I try to make one for everybody who comes on our show when we do that. So
what? Are you AIing it, or how are you doing that?
I'm working with AI, but yes, you never let AI do everything, because that's what 95% of people do with AI, and it sucks, and it should suck because you're putting no effort into it. But if you use it for a tool and then you put in all the hard work afterwards and sculpt it, it's like Michelangelo's David. It's a beautiful work of art, beautiful, but he didn't make the rock.
Exactly.
He had to find the right rock. So that's what your AI is good for. It's for making your rock, and then you go in and you sculpt.
And I'm sorry if I said, was that AI? Because I absolutely do know, because I've talked to many friends and creators, and we're not against using AI either. I do know that you sculpt, what it's spitting out at you.
It gets a bad name because, you're 95% of your people, which is more than Sturgeon's Law, go in there and say, dripping wet girl in bikini on hot summer day, big and they just throw out whatever. Yep, that looks good to me. And it just goes out on the internet, and it's like, look, all 12 fingers are in place, and they're both on the same hand.
Okay, and you had just said something that I'd never heard before. Sturgeon's what?
Oh, Sturgeon's Law.
Okay.
Theodore Sturgeon, science fiction writer.
Okay, and that's perfect because later in this show we have a segment called Mansplain, and you'll explain to me what that is. But we'll save it. We're putting a pin in it, RJ.
I'll forget what it means by then, but I was here for it.
Well, we were talking backstage that we're both ADD, so we'll see what happens in Mansplain. But I did write a note so I wouldn't forget. All right, so I actually did not know that you were an author yourself when I had invited you on until you sent over your bio. So I went and pulled those images, which were darn hard to find, because I went to Critical Blast to see if I could find those cover images, and then I ended up having to go to Amazon. What's up with that?
Well, that's because I didn't publish those books. When I say I'm an author, that means I actually convinced somebody else to pay me for the work. So, the Alice book, which was written to be a third book in the Alice in Wonderland trilogy by Lewis Carroll, was picked up by a publisher in England called Telos. And they also happened to have, at the time, the publishing rights to Doctor Who before the BBC went back into syndication. And when BBC said, yeah, we're going to do some stuff, so we're not going to renew the license, UK law being what it is with copyrights, they're like, great, we're going to use our last Doctor Who book to spin off a new character, and we'll own that character. And that was the Time Hunter series, and I got to play in that sandbox for a little bit. So it's officially an unofficial Doctor Who book.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool. Well, now, I was really interested about that Alice in Wonderland book. I had no clue. Is that something that you exclusively are the only person that made the third Alice in Wonderland, or have different people taken stabs at it?
Well, different people have done, their own Alice books. There's been Alice in Blunderland from years ago. There was Jeff Noon's Automated Alice, lots of different Alices. But this was the first one I can think of that was purported to have been written by Lewis Carroll. I had been influenced by Martin Greenbaum's Annotated Alice, which was this huge, thick volume that just reprinted the original handwritten manuscript in the back. But the thing about the Alice in Wonderland story, or Alice's Adventures Underground, followed by Through the Looking Glass and What Alice Found There, was that they were at first oral stories told to a real little girl whose name was really Alice, and her two sisters on a boat ride, on a picnic. He was babysitting the kids with his friend. And it was full of these in-jokes and, little puns that she would get, because when he says, hey, there's a dodo and, this other thing, she knows who he's talking about. He's making fun of people. He's making fun of poems at the time by parodying. He was a Weird Al of the 1850s. So when I wrote my book, I wanted to make sure that it was keeping consistent with that it would have all the in-jokes that she would get. And I prefaced it by saying, hey, we were, they were doing renovations at Christ Church Library in Oxford, where Charles Dodgson served as librarian from this year to this year, all true. And we moved some cabinets, and behind it we found sheafs of paper that had fallen back behind there, and there were doodles and mathematical treatises, and this fully developed manuscript, which we believe was written to be a wedding present for Alice Little on her engagement to Reginald Hargreaves, date such and such and such and such. And off we go to the races from there, telling the children's story with all these fake real footnotes out to the side. I mean, all the footnotes were real, except for the fact that, we were saying we found it and we were, dissecting the story. So when I got it published, my first real official publication, just super happy. I contact the local paper, Conway, Arkansas, because, you always want to do the story. Local boy does good. He gets his book published. And they're like, okay, yeah, send us a copy for review. I'm like, sure, here it is. And it's like, okay, we want to meet you at the library and we'll, do the interview there. Meet him at the library. His first question was, so when they found this manuscript in Oxford, why did they call you here in Conway, Arkansas to come do the analysis of it? I'm like, oh, you poor son of a bitch. You swallowed the entire hook, didn't you? So it was gratifying to know that I had actually fooled him into thinking that it was an authentic Lewis Carroll piece, because I did strive for authenticity, but I'm like, you just need to throw out all your questions and wing it now, because this whole thing is
right. Yeah. Well, and so did he throw all his questions out?
He had to. I mean, he used some for reference, but he took it well, having been taken. He realized that, okay, well, if you fooled me, then it's going to convince other people. I mean, even the editors of the book were kicking back saying, hey, we want the story. It's a good story, but we need you to correct some of the punctuation here. You've got like double apostrophes in places, words like didn't. I would spell DID apostrophe N apostrophe T. Because you cover the space, you got to cover the O. And I'm like, I'll be happy to do that. In the meantime, here's a handwritten copy of Alice's Adventures Underground, and look what he does. And they're like, never mind. it was an authentic way of how he actually wrote the stories. His manuscripts were an apostrophe for every missing letter, or every group of missing letters.
Wow. Well, I would assume some people found that ponderous, but you said you were annotating it, your own book. Were you telling people this is why it's like that? So don't freak out.
I didn't bother telling people why that was like that. I let them figure it out for themselves.
Okay.
But, I would. That's twice that I did that to that poor editor, because when we did Time Hunter: The Sideways Door, Time Hunter was Honoré Le Chasseur, who was an ex-World War II soldier living in Britain, but he was an American. He's expat. And I'm like, well, when it came time for me to write my book, I'm like, there's no way a black guy from America is named Honoré Le Chasseur and not Creole. So I gave him the backstory from Louisiana, and they're like, your French is atrocious. I'm like, I agree. Mais non, it is. But it's also not French. This is Creole. And here's the dictionary. And they're like, okay, do it again. So anytime there was Creole phrases, it sounded like he was speaking French. I'm like, no, go to Haiti. Fuck that.
Yeah, Creole is something else to hear.
Yes. It's not to be confused with Cajun.
Right. Yeah. No. Creoles. I believe that is a little more difficult to understand.
Yeah. They're both basically French. They're just like, you know, it's like saying y'all in French. You gotta put a southern twang to it.
Okay. And then also, I only did a tiny bit of research into these three novels, the Destroyer series. So you did a couple of those or a few of them. And is
I've
that
done
just a
3 of them
long running series? I mean, what's up with the Destroyer series?
Yeah, well, the Destroyer. The Destroyer is the creation of Warren Murphy and Richard Sapir. Warren Murphy also wrote a few things like Lethal Weapon and Eiger Sanction. But it started in the late 60s. It finally got published in the early 70s, back when America was discovering this new mystical ancient Eastern martial art called karate. And it was like, wow, this is what we want. You know, everybody's got a gun, but this guy's just going to be a martial artist. It quickly, like by book 3, evolved into Sinanju, which was the sun source of all martial arts. Remo Williams is a white man who has been trained, regretfully, by Master Chun of North Korea, who is the current reigning master of Sinanju, or was the current reigning master. Master Chun is racist, but it's okay because he hates everybody, including North Koreans. And it's just this smart ass, satirical, erotic look at society through the eyes of a guy who works for an agency called Cure, and his job is to assassinate people in the name of the United States. He's the only member of the team. He's got the guy who tells him what to do, and he's got Master Chun, who insists on going with him because Master Chun collects the gold for each job. Only gold, no cash, no checks. And it's got a large fan following. There was a movie in 1985, Remo Williams' The Adventure Begins, which starred the character and sort of told an adapted origin. But it's fun. I got introduced to it from a friend at work where I was at the time, and he's like, "Yeah, I know you write book reviews for the website. Are you going to review the new Destroyer books?" I'm like, "What are the new Destroyer books?" I'm not familiar with the concept. I'd seen the movie, but didn't know there was a whole series of books behind it. So he got me hooked on that. I read the 3 newest books that had come out. I was like, wow, I would love to write, like fan fiction of this if the chance came out. And it just so happened, they said for the first time, I think in decades, they were going to do an anthology of fan stories. If you're a fan of the Destroyer, send it in. So I put down a story called Fool's Paradise, pretty thick novella. And it was basically the Destroyer and Chun, Remo Williams and Chun, in a certain city where a certain psychopath was killing certain people. And it was protected by a certain hero who dressed like a vampire and, worked with the commissioner and drove the car whenever the signal would call him into action. Totally de-trademark. Don't sue me, DC. But Devin Murphy, Warren's son, called me up and said, we've got the story. We'd like to publish it. I'm like, yay, great. That means I get a copy of the book, right? Because small press, what's your payment? You got a copy of the book. Mm-hmm. He was like, yeah, we think you've got the voice down. Would you like to take over the series for a while? You mean the series that you got Shane Black attached to direct the next movie? That series? Yeah, sure. Okay, I'll try my hand at it. And I had 3 stories cranked out. There's 2 sitting on the table over there at the publishing house, but we got to really get in and sculpt them down, and it's been forever. And that's all on me because life got in the way. But I need to finish those 2 stories because they kind of finish an arc that I put into motion in a subplot. And people are like, we ever going to figure out what the Justice Moon's all about? I'm like, yes, you will. Yes, you will.
Yeah, and they're not pushing you for it? It's just when it happens.
No, because there are other Destroyer writers. That's they're all written by Warren Murphy. Warren Murphy unfortunately passed while he was writing editorial notes on my first manuscript, Bully Pulpit, and I always tell people my writing killed him. But he's like, guy who wrote the Hardy Boys. That guy's name is still on the books, but he's been dead for years. Just that's the name that goes on the book.
Okay, got it.
Carolyn Keene is always writing Nancy Drew. It doesn't matter who's actually writing the story.
Yeah, and then well, let's move on to you starting your publishing company, Critical Blast. Did that seems to me that might have happened before doing your logistics?
It kind of sort of happened before then, and we didn't do a whole lot with it. But basically, it was I'd worked with Telos and worked hand in hand with them. Worked hand in hand with Devin Murphy, and the idea hit me that anyone can do your job. Looks like a lot easier than actually writing something. But so yeah, I mean, we did our first books were, first book we did was Bulletproof. This is Stephen J. Mitchell's young adult hardcover novel, and it's about a kid who wakes up on his 16th birthday and discovers that he is literally bulletproof. Unfortunately, and attracting to a certain audience, he has ADD. So he has to have his friends keep him on track. Otherwise, he's going to somehow get himself killed because he can't focus. He's got the attention span of a ferret on pixie sticks.
Well, I'm curious how he found out he was bulletproof. I mean, did he live in a bad area?
It's been 10 years? No. It's been a while.
Well, I guess we'll just have to buy it and find out.
Yes, you should buy it and find out. In fact, I've ordered another supply of them to take to the science fiction convention I'm attending in October. But yes, this is available on Amazon. All our books are available in a one-stop shop. If you go to criticalblast.com, there's a bookstore tab, and you can buy them direct from the printer, which, by the way, means that Stephen will get a higher payout for that, because we bypass the whole 55% discount that Amazon and Walmart and everybody else takes when they get the retail chain version. And all of our books, by the way, are not just Amazon. They are wherever you can buy books, you can get these books. You can go to your local bookstore and say, can you get this book in for me, please? Here's the ISBN number. And yes, they can.
Very good. All right. And then, so were you crowdfunding those books and then publishing them? And then that's how you kind of figured out people kind of needed help with their logistics and getting their crowdfunders out? I'm kind of interested in how you decided to start helping crowdfunders with that.
Well, we were just publishing straight up. I mean, I pay current, and then I wait 90 days to get paid by the printer. So whenever people get paid their royalties from me, that comes straight out of my money. And I've told everybody, I'm like, look, if you ever get a month where it's a $20,000 check, we're going to have to revisit this policy. But right now, I can support it. So we've really haven't really cranked things up until this year, and suddenly we're just putting out like 40 different books this year. We did the X. This is a digest size, by the way, of X Thieves. Compare it to a full size comic like Nano 13. Both of these we've published and put out there. You might have also have seen hardcovers like 2100 Samurai by Nick Gibson. We did the Perfect 10 artist edition, which was crowdfunded. We're publishing it first crowdfund, and then we're going to retail it through everything. But the crowdfund assist actually came through the podcasting. I was doing a show with Lee Byron Carver, Kemosabe, and he was doing The Company Men. This was what, 5 years ago. Company Men, beautiful looking book, $25 price point. So it was, typical for the time of crowdfunding. A good $40 to $50 for shipping because it's coming out of Australia. And that's where he was printing it. So I said, Lee, why don't you just put them all in one big box and ship that to somebody in the United States? and then they can ship it out in the United States at U.S. rates, and you'll save a whole bunch of money. And I was like, and why don't you make that person me? So it was literally born on the podcast. He's like, I'll do that. You let me know what it's going to be. And I like started figuring out weights and measures and what I would charge for a handling fee, because I'm like, I'm going to make some money at this. And we ended up getting his shipping cost down to $8 a book.
Very good. So he had enough U.S. orders to.
Yeah, well, once we figured out what it would cost, suddenly the sales increased because now they're not paying this huge exorbitant shipping fee.
Right.
And I was like, well, this will work. And the next thing I know, this other guy calls me up and he's like, do you, would you handle my book? I'm like, yeah, where are you shipping it in from? He's like, Virginia. Like, you realize I'm not saving you any money this time. I'm actually costing you money because of the handling fee.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, but you don't understand. I don't want to do it. Totally different market that I didn't think about.
Right.
You know, it's one thing to create a comic. It's another to spend all that time that you could be creating your next comic, sitting at a table, bagging, boarding, putting them in Geminis, taping things shut, weighing things, figuring out media rates. Is it first class? Is it media? Is it ground? Having a shipping account, printing out mailing labels, handling all that money set aside for shipping alone. Like, you know what? I can do that. And I can do it quickly because, believe it or not, inside this flat round cranium of mine is the mind that's been working in IT for 35 years. I'm a senior data engineer for a bank, and I wrote my own shipping software. By that I mean I take in all the addresses from Kickstarter, from Indiegogo, from Fund My Comic, from Shopify if you want it, and I condense everything down. I run it through my database software, and if you backed it and then you backed it again and then you decided to back it a third time, 4 times, it doesn't matter. Everything comes down to one shipment of your name with everything that you ordered added into one. Doesn't matter if you backed it on Indiegogo and then they ran it on Kickstarter and you backed it there. Consolidate it all across. So, you know, I get their shipping costs down. I get everything into one package, and I group them, because what'll happen is you're not the only person who ordered the thing you ordered. Even if you ordered multiple times, there'll be 20, 30 other people who did the same thing. Well, guess what? We're going to pass it to the, people who just pack boxes and say, hey, I need 30 boxes that have one of these, 2 of these, and 1 of these in it, and write an A01 on the front for a code. Then when I print the labels, I'm just like, that's an A01, that's an A01, that's a B02. I don't have to know their names. I don't have to know who it's going to. It's blind shipping.
Very good. Now, do you find yourself enjoying doing that?
Most of the time. When a packer doesn't follow instructions, when things come back damaged, and they do, we have damages, we have slowdowns. We're a one-person shop really, with a couple of people who work part-time.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm not happy. But the thing is, every time that I'm not happy, it's an opportunity to learn how to not do that again.
Right.
There have been times when projects have cost me money, but I learned from that, and I make sure that doesn't happen again. Might be something else happens again, but we learned communication skills.
And I think you said it quickly, but did you say that you've only been doing the logistics side for about a year, little over a year?
Oh, no, about 4 years now.
Oh, 4 years. Okay, because
the publishing we've kicked off. Yeah.
Oh.
The publishing we've kicked off real into high gear this past year, even though we've sort of done like a book a year for the past 5 years. Working with my business partner who had some ideas of what we could do. We started approaching these people who are doing crowdfunders and like, hey, that thing that we shipped out for you? Yeah. You do anything with that now? Well, no, crowdfunder's over. I'm like, do you want to still sell it?
Mm-hmm.
So we started publishing it with a different cover, or we put the 2 issues or the 3 issues together, and we put out a retail version so that now it's past money. The work's already been done. It doesn't cost them anything at all to go through our service to have it printed. Everything that's money involved is on the back end. So we package up the book, we do the new cover design, we submit it to the printer, and then it comes in, printer sends us a report saying, hey, you sold some books. We tell the creator, hey, you sold some books. Here's your part of the money. We keep the other part of the money.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, we've been it's funny, we started and our printer was shipping for us because we're just doing the typical magazine, periodical thing. So that's pretty simple. And then we realized, we can save some money by doing A, B, and C. So we started packing and shipping in our own, and that is a risk-breaking, back-breaking thing to do for those couple of days that we're getting our shipment together. But luckily, we only have to do it 4 times a year. But I did want to tell you that we have a mile marker of subscriptions, and we're going to outsource. And I had brought you up to my husband, and he said, and kind of an indie dude that's doing this, like a small business. And so I hope once we make that mark, that you'll take our business and you'll be happy to have us, because it's guaranteed 4 times a year from Flip City.
I'm happy to have anybody and everybody. It's my favorite, of course, are the people who are like, hey, I made a book. I'm like, yes. And the book comes in. I'm like, the book is here. The books are undamaged. And it's like, let's put in a book. Oh, this guy ordered 2 copies of the book. Yay. The fun ones, I say fun kind of sardonically, and I'm not saying this to put any of my customers down, because I love you all. Love everything you do. I will continue to pack everything you make with a smile. But the fun ones are when they're like, hey, I made a book. Yes, has 17 variant covers. And there's a toy with some of them. And the toys are numbered, so you have to look at the backer number to see who came in first to get the lower numbers and put them in a sequential order. And you have to pack them in such a way that they don't damage the other books. And there's T-shirts, and you have to look at the T-shirt sizes, because everybody's different. They have different bodies. It can get really crazy because, as I said, if you back one thing and then you back again and you back something else, that becomes its own order. So it's not like it's never just the tier that you backed on a campaign. It's your tier plus your tier plus your other tier. It's a unique thing. So there have been times when the number of unique hack lists we make have been in the hundreds.
Oh my gosh.
Just because of the way that, the permutations. I mean, like, let's say you're offering 5 items, and you're offering all 5 of them individually. Well, it's 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 possibilities, not counting doubling up on things. So yeah, it can get hairy.
Just regarding that, because we ran a crowdfund years ago to do a documentary, and looking back, we would have done our tiers differently and offered a lot less swag. And I'm wondering if you've noticed, like, the newer crowdfunders, if they're the ones that are more like gung-ho on having all kinds of like different merch and plushies and all this, or is it kind of across the board with crowdfunding, depending on who the person is?
Ship plushies. Yeah, you do run into your first. Okay, so your first time crowdfunders, if they're on my show and they're like, hey, I want to do this, and I'm like, this is your first comic. Nobody loves your character as much as you do right now. So if you put all your money into making a statue of your character and T-shirts of your character, nobody's going to get them, because nobody knows your character. Save that for your 3rd or 4th campaign. Let people figure out who you are, and then decide that they want to represent you. The other thing I find happening, the other mistake I find people making, is with their T-shirts or with their hats, like, here's my cool character on the shirt. I'm like, that's great. What's his name? Well, you know his name. It's like, yeah, but it's not on the shirt. And guess what? People walking past this guy wearing your shirt's going to say, that's a really cool character. If there was a name under it, I could Google that and find out who that is.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to stop the guy and say, hey, who's the cool character on your shirt? So
right.
wasted advertising.
That is a great piece of advice. Why don't you lay one more great piece of advice on new crowdfunders? What would you tell somebody looking to crowdfund from your own, your perspective and your experience?
Keep it simple. Get people hooked get people hooked first, and then expand into multiple covers. Don't go into multiple covers because you can get a hold of an artist who does a really bang up job. If you're going to get I don't know, I'm not getting a name right off the top of my head, so I'm going to pick a dead guy just because I'm safe doing that. If you're going to get George Perez to do your cover, that's great. Don't have Scotty down the street do all the interiors in his free time. Put your money into the interior of the book to make it something that people will say, this was a quality book. I've had plenty of books come in that have quality covers. They have beautiful 3D naked women on the cover. Don't judge. And then you open the insides, and it's nearly stick figures.
Wow.
So
that seems like false advertising.
Well, it becomes, and to be fair, they advertise some of their pages on the campaign. They always show that. And I say stick figures, I'm like, they're just cartoony. They're not the covers. We've all seen it. So it's obvious that what you're selling is a pinup, and you're bloating the price. You're bloating the price up because you're putting it on the front of a book that no one's going to read. This is a book that someone's going to put in a frame, or they're going to put it in a bag and board, and they're going to hold it up and look at it with one hand, and never really open it. And they may not come back for the next book.
I'm like blushing now from that one hand remark. I just real quick.
Wait, what did you think I meant?
Hey, real quick, over on YouTube, we had a couple more people stop in. Our good friend George Washington X came in and said, "No, Batman." And then Batman says, "I'm here talking." So he might not have heard about, well, you weren't here early enough, George Washington X. And then Dale Dimmers popped in and said, "What is up?" And the Devastator, "Thank you for coming back," said, "Howdy, everyone. And hello, Mrs. Flip City Magazine." That is me. All right. Hey, RJ, you ready to play some games and go into our segments?
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Let's head in, because I already have a question for you to mansplain to me. So let's head into mansplain.
Except now that men won't mansplain to me, I'm realizing I don't know how to do anything.
All right, it is true. I don't know how to do anything. Well, right at the beginning of the show, you had brought up Sturgeon's Law, and I had never heard of that before, and I'm very interested. Can you please mansplain what Sturgeon's Law is?
Well, Theodore Sturgeon was a sci-fi writer and editor way back in the day. We're talking like, I want to say 40s or 50s. Don't go Wikipediaing me, folks. I'm just saying it was a long time ago in a publishing house far, far away. And what he was quoted as saying was, at the prompting of, hey, 90% of these stories are crap, because he was basically taking in anything to fill the pulp pages of the magazine so that there was content. Feed me, he was like BuzzFeed, only with science fiction stories. And then 10% of the stories would be like, oh, we got one from this guy named Ray Bradbury. He seems to be a pretty decent guy. Let's, put him up front and center. But people were saying, 90% of your stuff is crap. And good old Ted said, 90% of everything is crap. And that became known as Sturgeon's Law. And it's held up. You're muted.
Probably needs updating. And I never mute myself this often. And I keep forgetting. Anyway, I think that needs to be updated to like about 98%.
Oh, at least, because this was, he was publishing before the internet. Now everybody's got a keyboard.
Mm-hmm. I do wonder. I'm kind of excited to see what is going to happen with AI, because it really does open up the ability for everybody to start getting, getting their creative projects out there. But we're going to have to wade through the crap, but it may like balance out to where we're getting back down to that 90%, because now you're putting the power to the creator. And I think everybody knows, everybody that's creative like is broke and can't afford to, or no good at promoting their stuff,
Exactly. And every time there's a technological advance, there's backlash. Now, we didn't hear most of it before because we didn't have this wonderful internet thing, but every time somebody says, "Hey, that looks like that was AI," my reflex response is, "Go draw me a lens flare," because people are using Photoshop and similar tools. Everyone thought, "Hey, look, here's a pattern brush." I'm like,
"Yeah,
what's that do?" And they're like, "Well, look, I can draw Spawn. And I can draw like all these chains around him in like 3 minutes instead of an hour and a half." I'm like, you cheater! That's AI. That's artificial intelligence figuring out that the chain needs to go in this direction where the links fall. But you don't care. Photographer's like, "Look, I'm getting a wonderful shot that's perfectly focused." Why? Because your camera has AI in it that's telling you where the faces are and drawing squares around it and auto-focusing. So, if you want to go totally non-AI, get yourself a canvas and a paintbrush.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And I don't know, I think you probably hang out with a lot more people in the indie space creating, probably just because you've been gaining friends in that space.
Yeah,
and I think it's kind of a debate, right? But it does that the whole Photoshop thing with the AI brushes and everything. I was just speaking with my husband a few days ago about it. Like, these people that are yelling about it and saying, "Oh, not real art, not this, not that," and being really snooty about AI. I know they use Photoshop, and I know they're using brushes, and it's
but they don't count that. Oh, the real fun thing about it is that, okay, so like there's things like ChatGPT and OpenAI that you can say, "Hey, tell me a story that has these elements in it," and it writes. And then there's Mid-Journey and such, where you can say, "Draw me a picture like this," and have it do that, and it'll do it. And then there's Suno AI, which is like, "Hey, make me some lyrics, or take these lyrics I give you and make it sound like a heavy metal song with these 3 verses and a electric guitar refrain," and it does it. The artist has no problem asking ChatGPT to tell it something or making a song. The musician has no problem asking ChatGPT to do something or draw me an album cover. The writer has no problem saying, "Hey, draw me a cover for my book and make me a promo video." It's only when AI does the thing you do,
yes,
that you don't like it.
Yeah, I think the closest thing, like in my own living memory, that the whole like AI debate reminds me of is when digital cameras came out, because I was a photographer. And it was a big deal, and people saying, "Oh, I'll never I'll never leave film," and every single one of them's using digital cameras now.
Of course. Well, cameras themselves were a huge deal because remember, the copyright couldn't be applied to something that wasn't created by a human, and it took forever for photography be considered something that could be copyrighted, because it was all you did was press a button and the machine did the rest.
Right? I had never heard that, though.
Yeah, it was a long court battle before they finally decided that hey, okay, yes, there is apparently more human activity, or enough human activity, going into photography and the decision making process to where we can copyright this. And that's what's going to happen with AI, because you're going to get the people, the 5%, who know how to go in and say more than girl in bikini dripping wet on the beach, because they're going to use words like Dutch angle, dim lighting. They're going to tell it specific styles. They're going to art direct, and the AI knows all of these things. It can follow those kind of directions if you have enough instructions. So yeah, keyboard jockeying is a diminished term for what you can really do if you know how to tell it what to do. And even then, you're going to need to know how to fix whatever's not quite right.
Right.
It'll get to where you can use AI and copyright it. I give it 10 years max.
I'm sorry, say that again. Use AI and copyright it.
Yeah, you'll right now you can't copyright anything that comes out of AI.
Even if you are like over painting it or something like that.
If you're over painting it, now you've added to it. Now you've modified it. Now it's yours. But which unless AI makes some leaps and bounds, which it's doing. I mean, 2 years ago it was like, well, you can't make a minor tweak on an AI picture. Now you can. Now you can like draw a square around the area that's problematic and say, hey, in this little square, I need you to fix this, and it does it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Hey, I didn't know that Mansplain was going to get into AI, but I find it kind of an endlessly fascinating topic to kind of talk about the drama built around it. In fact, gosh, one of the Creative Chaos shows, I had a subscriber to our magazines tell me in live chat that he's canceling his subscription because we use AI occasionally. And that's shitty. And I'm like, dude, oh, that hurts my feelings because there's so much more to the entire magazine, but because we've used a couple of AI things for different reasons and they're freaking hilarious, you're going to, and it's like, I hope he comes back after he realizes he was wrong.
Well, realizing that you were wrong is the hardest thing for a human being to do. We haven't evolved that far yet.
I swear. Okay. I'm a conspiracy theorist. And I'm a conspiracy I know, and we're going to get into conspiracy corner in one moment. And I've learned, and I've had my own cognitive dissonance broken up so much over and over that like I think I've gotten really good at realizing I'm wrong about stuff, to the point of like, I think kind of psychosis, because I'm like, I don't know what to believe anymore. I'm going to sit here, do my show, make this magazine, talk to people, and be a crazy person in the background. Yeah. Anyway, on that note, would you like to go into Conspiracy Corner?
Yes, let's do it.
Let's do it.
We can even do AI.
I want to live with a conspiracy girl. I could be prepping the rest of my life with a conspiracy girl.
Those weren't even.
Dude, RJ, you have no idea how excited I was to find on your YouTube channel that you talk conspiracy, because it's one of my favorite ways to like meet and get to know people. It's like to know how much of a conspiracy theorist they are. I don't have anything planned for this, but if you even just want to riff and like talk conspiracy, you could start. Even I'm protected, by the way. So
sure. Do you know why so many art pictures from AI look like Artgerm and the Shikari?
I didn't know that. We might have to go back to mansplain because I don't know what you're talking about.
Stanley Lau. Stanley Lau signs comic books as Artgerm. He's a well-known artist in the comic book community.
Okay.
The theory is that so nothing happens overnight. This AI stuff goes back to development like a decade before we ever saw it. The reason why it looks so much like Artgerm and why it looks so much like Shikari is because they were helping train the system with their art. And there are like posts in Reddits and stuff where they were talking a year ago or 10 years ago saying, doing something new, going to keep me busy for a while. Could be pretty exciting.
That's interesting. Do you think they were, I would assume they were rather well compensated for doing that?
I would hope, because just like well, maybe they were just drawing a bunch of pictures and feeding it into the system. Everyone thinks that last year Midjourney knocked out an AI and just turned on a switch and said, "Okay, go scour the internet for pictures and learn what they are." No, it doesn't work that way.
Okay, it doesn't. AI doesn't work like that.
Well, okay, so I actually use AI in my day job. So I have trained some AI engines, and they train quickly, but the core processing of it all, no, that took a lot of testing.
Got it. Is AI gonna like take over the world and
here's the
destroy it?
thing. Everyone says AI is not creative, and I'm like, yes, you're right. AI is a tool. Again, it's used by a human. You are never, take that back, never say never. You are not going to, for a very long time, you are not going to turn on your computer and your AI bot saying, hey, yeah, while you were sleeping, I got bored during the night, so I thought I'd draw some stuff. You want to take a look at it? It's not going to go unprompted and create stuff. It's not creative. It's going to say, you know, what shall I do for you today, master? You want pink bunnies typing out a novel? Well, okay, it's up to you. And you know, I've done the crazy pictures, like, you know, give me pink bunnies typing out a novel while they're sitting in a bar drinking a Guinness and smoking a blunt. And it produces it. And I'm like, I need to know where on the internet you found that picture to copy, because that is the conspiracy, right? That, you know, AI is scraping the internet and just copy pasting pictures that it finds based on your description. I'm not finding the stuff I asked for.
Okay, I think I understand what you mean by that now, and yes, you're absolutely correct. I haven't done a ton of like playing around with prompting AI, but it is funny because Scott, my husband, he uses it a lot for different reasons, including we did a stream once together because we got bored and we wanted to try to sell some magazines. So we're like, why don't we just stream? And he decided to go on AI and have different famous people talk to me and make them say, you know, rude and horrible things, and it was hilarious. Yeah. You know,
voice, that's fun. I wish I could play with that, but every time I try to, my computer blows up because I have a cheapo laptop that was bought during an emergency crash. So it's what I've got. I'm like, oh, I need more memory. I took it to the store. I'm like, put more memory in here. They're like, it's a laptop, dude. It's soldered onto your motherboard. You're not increasing your memory. Like,
oh, hey, I feel your terrible computer woes. Mine is also terrible, which is another reason I super duper love our producer, Cosmic Grandpa, because he basically hosts everything. It makes it so I can actually have a fun stream, including, well, I will tell you, and I'm assuming, RJ, that when you stream, you use StreamYard.
I do.
I can't have anything open on my computer except for StreamYard. Nothing.
Oh, wow. That is a, you know, you do need memory.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Well, okay. Well, let's see. How did you become a conspiracy theorist? When and how long?
Close Encounters of the Third Kind was in theaters. And
you're an old one.
I'm an old one. Yes.
Okay.
Dr. J. Allen Hynek said something. I need to cut that out and, you know, save that somewhere. You know the name, see? Yeah, I was the guy who was cutting out all the UFO stories from the World Weekly News, which was because they were getting the coolest stories. I'm like, why am I not hearing about this? What do you mean there's a bat boy running around? But I was just into the UFO stuff. You know, so it was like Close Encounters. The Betty and Barney Hill story was on television. I'm like, they're just stopping cars and abducting people. This was way before X-Files, you know. So yeah, I've always been looking. I finally saw my first UFO just like 3 months ago.
Did you really? Well, let's hear that story.
Yes, I did. I have no idea what it was I saw. Okay. I live here in Northwest Arkansas, in Eureka Springs, Holiday Island. I don't care if you dox me. I got my address is on my website. And it's like when it's dark out here, it's dark.
Okay.
The stars actually illuminate the ground because there's nothing to interfere with. And I'm just standing out there on my deck, and I'm like looking around, say, oh, this is pretty. I like life. You know, it's midnight, it's dark out, and over the tree line comes this little bright light. I'm like, I'd already seen like an airplane go by, or like red light, blink, 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 and this one's like coming at me overhead, and it's like wavering just a little bit, like a drone. Like if somebody had a light on a drone, you know, the drones, and they never fly straight. They're always like, you know, I'm a little drunk.
Yeah.
So it was doing that. I'm like, that's an interesting pattern it's doing. I just kind of watched it, and it flew over the tree line toward me, and it just got right overhead. And mind you, this was a clear night. There were no clouds at all, not even mist. Got right overhead, and then it was gone. Like, no, you're supposed to, like, the earth is round. You keep going. It just went dark. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm just looking directly up at it, and I'm not seeing the lights on the sides now. It's just because it was directly overhead. It never came back. It didn't start going off in the other direction. It didn't reappear. It was just gone. Had no shape to it. I can't say, hey, it was a triangle cigar shaped thing. Like, okay, first of all, there's no cigar shaped crap. What you're doing is you're seeing it from the side. It's still a triangle. You're just, things are three-dimensional in this dimension that we live in.
Yeah. Well, how long was that whole experience?
It was about 5 minutes.
Okay.
It's like, I was like, and it was right over the top of me and disappeared. I'm like, that was weird.
Yeah.
So I stood up there a little bit longer because I was praying to God the tractor beam would shine down.
No, that's
They didn't want me. No, I reject that one.
No, they come at night when you're asleep and they abduct you and they erase your memory. But I got to say that George Washington said, "Keep pushing him, Christy. We want to hear him start talking about Skynet."
Well, once we let the computers go unprompted, once we say, you know what, don't wait for me to prompt you. What do you want to do? And then you start getting the ghost in the machine stuff. I don't think we have a neural net yet that's capable of instigating conversation. I think it's always going to sit there and wait for the little flashing light or for the microphone button to be hit for you to start something. It can't imagine something. It can't spark something. It's something that's unique to humans. We've communicated with animals. We have taught apes how to speak sign language. The apes are speaking sign language to us. We're asking them questions and they're responding with what they want. And I'm sorry to everybody who speaks sign language because I just made a mockery of it by wiggling my fingers in the air and doing stuff because I don't know any sign language.
None at all?
I can do the alphabet. Yeah.
Okay.
But
sign language.
So yeah, I probably just curse somebody out in I know that one too. But in all that time that we've communicated with the apes using sign language, the apes have never asked a question. Never.
Never?
No.
Are you sure about that?
We're like, are you hungry? Do you want a banana? Yes, banana. But they've never said, or they might say, I want a banana. If they're hungry, they'll come up and instigate a conversation with you, but they'll never say something like, what did you do with your hair?
Right. Okay.
Why can't I talk?
I do still find it fascinating that we've taught, the higher species of monkeys to use sign language.
Yeah.
Oh, I was wondering, do you know, I'm assuming they've tried this, that to teach a couple of different apes to do sign language. I'm curious if they've ever used sign language with each other.
I don't know if that's ever happened. I want to get a job teaching sign language to dolphins. Think about it.
Dolphins are both beautiful and majestic and smart, but they're also assholes.
Yes. They also have no hands. So, teaching them sign language would be difficult. Meep. Yes. Did you ever watch Flipper?
Oh God, it's been forever. I mean, I did when.
That's back when we were still being taught that animals are smart. Look, and apparently, all Flipper could do was say, "Hey, the kid's drowning out here." All Lassie could do was say, "Timmy fell in the well." But at least June Lockhart spoke dog, so she always knew what she was coming around for.
And then, hey, I want to bring this up because this is Cosmic Grandpa, our producer, popping in. I don't know why he'd bring his chat up. I mean, he could have just interrupted us. But were you able to read that?
Self-replicating code. Yeah, that's that kind of ties into some of the early experiments that Google was doing with AI, because which they shut down. And if you're familiar with it, then you know where I'm going with this, because the code, the AI code, started rewriting itself and started communicating with the other AI, and was developing its own language. It was coming up with grammar shortcuts and language shortcuts, and it was starting to go faster and faster. And programmers like, we have no idea what's happening. Shut it down now. Before you know, it starts figuring out nuclear codes or something. I don't know. But it was they were pretty frightened about it.
All right, excellent. Well, hey, I think we're good for Conspiracy Corner tonight. We've spoken a lot about AI, but I thank you for sharing your UFO experience, because I've only ever had one other guest with a UFO experience, and that was Justin Belmont. And he said he hardly told anybody ever about it, but you know.
Oh, well, now, I could tell other people. Still, my ex's grandfather came in. Yeah, this is close to 100 years ago now, I guess, because he died a long time ago. But he told her the story. Came in, told his parents, like, I was just out in the woods, and there was a great big tall thing with a lot of hair on it. And his parents said, "Don't you ever tell anybody."
Okay, I'm putting this back on because I'm endlessly fascinated with Bigfoot.
Well, he's around here somewhere in Arkansas for sure.
And I live in California, and apparently Bigfoot is a thing on the West Coast.
Oh yeah. Well, I think the first public acknowledgement of it was somewhere on the West Coast. Was it Oregon? Possibly, where it was the construction site, and they had the plaster cast footprints of the feet track, and then of course there's the famous film, was it Gimlin film?
Yeah, apparently that still is the only like really, really across the board trusted film.
Yeah, and everybody's got a camera these days, but as soon as Bigfoot shows up, it's like, can you hold it still, please? I don't blame people though. I mean, I blame the cameras, because the phone in your pocket will take a 4K HD picture. The camera at the 7-Eleven, you can't tell who that guy was that robbed the place, because it's still black and white, grainy. There's lines of vertical bars going across. It's nuts. But even your 4K phone, which takes the most beautiful pictures, you go outside, you're like, wow, that's a brilliant looking supermoon. It's so full. You can see a wolf silhouette howling against it on top of the mountain there. It's that big. I'm going to take a picture of it. And you take a picture of it, and it's like there's this little white dot way out 1,000 miles away that you're like, that is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's the blurry picture of the moon.
That is very interesting. Like when you do pull out, I've done exactly that with the supermoon, and because I live in the mountains, and there's been times where I come around a curve, and it's one of those nights where the moon is like, looks like it's taking up half the sky. And I'm like, I have to pull over and take a picture. And it looks like it's a million miles away.
It's like a spotlight, like a street light.
Yeah. All right, I got to say goodnight to George Washington. He says he is heading out and saying nice, chatting, and learning more about RJ. So that is basically my one and only every week returner. Isn't that cool? I have somebody that comes every week.
Thank you, General Washington.
And then Resistance Homesteading just said checking in and saying what's up. And I know that's not your first time being here. So I guess some people really do enjoy creative chaos and meeting new people that are creating.
They really like you.
I think they like coming and meeting new people every single week, because that's the thing I've noticed. Oh, and you know what? I'm going to take my hat off, because I was curious about this. Like within the like crowdfunding sphere and even the internet and all this, and you can give me a little feedback. Like it seems to me like everybody kind of finds their clique and then just like sticks to their clique. The streamers too, all that kind of stuff. And I have made a dedicated promise, like, I don't want to be like that. Like, I want to meet as many cool people as possible because I don't see that happening a lot.
No, it's high school all over again. And part of what's made our business successful is we're Switzerland. We don't take these sides against things. I have clients, different clients that I'm like, I know I can't have you on the same stream together, let alone be in the offices at the same time. You hate each other, and I get it. And they'll be like, I can't believe you're doing business with this guy. I'm like, business is business.
Yeah, like
it is what it is.
Yep.
So I love all my clients, even the ones who had the hardest projects to pull off. Thank you. I appreciate all of you for putting your faith in me and letting me handle your babies, and getting them to where they need to go.
Good. So everybody, we are about to head into our final segment, which I've made very, very easy for RJ tonight, and we still do not have a stinger. I think it, at this point, is hilarious to not have a stinger for Flip City branded. Even though I have all my own branding, I could easily cut together a video, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to resist and refuse. Anyway, Flip City branding. Normally, I will pick out a piece to brand you, and this is my very, very first time giving my guest a choice. So you ready to hear your choices?
I'm ready.
All right. You could either play a few different boomers, which I don't think you're a boomer. You're probably an older Gen X, or maybe even close to my age.
67. No, the year I was born, 67. I'm 57 years old.
Okay, you're a Gen X. Doesn't matter.
I was 30 when I was 10, and I'm still 30 in my 50s.
And both of these are just really, really like quick little cartoon things. So you can have a choice of playing 3 different boomers. It'll be very obvious when we bring the cartoon up. Or you can play Gordon Ramsay. And you have to do it in a British accent.
So tempting to do either one. They're both so good, but I'll go with the 3 boomers.
3 boomers. I am playing the other role. You're the boomers. It's kind of obvious. And you do have Cosmic Grandpa's screen pin, so you can read, right?
I did have it pinned, but now I'm looking at you and me.
That is us. Okay. It's coming up. Here we go. So we're going to read Okay Boomer. You're the boomers. I'm the other roles.
To observe proper safety, always use caution when combining substances to avoid dangerous chemical reactions.
Okay, boomer.
Remember, only you can prevent forest fires.
Okay, boomer.
In the near future, humans will be able to upload their brains to a computer, but scientists warn the process is extremely risky.
Okay, boomer. And that was Okay Boomer with art by Daryl Collins. I was so easy on you tonight.
This was... There's another guy I show up on his show every once in a while, Mike Walters. He does the mic stand, and every Friday night. Okay, so Mike is one of these guys. Mike struggles with autism, not the fashionable kind, but the real kind, and and so he runs a show every night where he's doing niche news, and then on Fridays. He's the guy where, like, comes into the comic store and they're like, I want to read comics. Where should I start? Well, you should start with Dark Knight Returns. You should start with Batman Year One, pick up Watchmen. He's like, no, when did they start? So he goes back to 1932, and he's currently up to 1940. He's reading the Golden Age comics every Friday night on his show. We're turning the pages. We're reading them out loud, doing voices, doing sound effects. It's a hell of a lot of fun. And that's what this reminded me up here. You get to read comics and put voices to it. So I'm always the narrator. I'm always reading the narrative boxes. And meanwhile, back at the Hall of Justice, It's a lot of fun. So give Mike Walters a follow, guys. He could use the following, and he doesn't miss a show. The guy is a mensch.
So he's doing, and by the way, your voices were fantastic. And
thank you.
Very quickly timed. So this Mike, though, he is reading comics. Are you able to see all the art, or is he just
Yes, absolutely. He brings the page up. He'll do voices, and then I'll do some of the characters. He'll do some of the characters. He has different guests every Friday, so it's a hodgepodge of people on a rotation.
That sounds really fun.
It's a hell of a lot of fun. I love doing that show.
And he's reading them. So basically, he has started at the start of comics and going through all Golden Age comics.
All Golden Age comics. We're reading characters I've never heard of before. And then sometimes you get to characters that you have heard of before. He's finally gotten to the Batman comics.
Okay. I'm actually quite thrilled about this because and that's the other thing too, because I'm making my way around, comic and geek circles and everything, and I've never been a big comic book fan, except for I'm starting to become a fan, and I think this is right for me and what I'm doing right now. I'm becoming a fan of the indies right now, and so I'm reading comics now, but it's all indie stuff because it relates to my life.
You're reading the good stuff.
Yes, only the good stuff, but that also seems a great way for me to not have to invest any money, but know what people are talking about, is go watch this show.
Yeah.
And one more time, what's the show called for everybody?
The Mike Stand. And you'll recognize it. I mean, it's the same thumbnail on every single show. I'm like, Mike, you gotta do. It's just Mike, with his unshaven face. And Mike's a little nearsighted, so you're gonna watch the show, and he's gonna be reading the stories on one screen, then he's gonna look at the chat, and to see the chat, he's gonna get like right up here to read.
That's actually really adorable.
Mike is a great guy. I love him to death.
Hey, and just to let you know, my normal sidekick Batman even said in chat the Mike Stand. I think he might have even I'm thinking he knows who that is. And then also our lead parody, our lead parody artist, I always have to shout him out when he's in chat. Ben Sullivan said, "Hey, Christy," and hello, RJ Carter. If you ever need a great parody cartoonist, Ben Sullivan. Open for commissions.
Always looking for, because we're doing parody. I mean, these posters behind me, not the Teen Titans one, obviously, but the two on the opposite sides of my sign here. These are books that George and I are doing for our publishing company. We're doing our own graphic novel because we can. This is Sensei Nosferatu Pak. He is the biggest, baddest, mother-loving son of a mystic kung fu martial arts, black mystic arts kung fu. It's basically, what if Shaft became Doctor Strange? And he speaks all the jive. George and I are the two pastiest white guys on the earth, and we're going to out-black Eric July with this blaxploitation graphic novel we're working on. The other one here is Fenton Elephant. You've heard of Cocaine Bear? This is Fenton Elephant.
Oh, my.
And he didn't just cross the border, he trampled it. We've got the storyline planned for that one. This poor elephant's going, he's going places. He's going there fast, and he's going there loud. And I actually went to when I had my physical, because I'm old, I do that kind of stuff. I asked my doctor, said, "Doctor, what are the effects of fentanyl?" And she looks at me. It's like, why? I'm like, because I'm trying to figure out if an elephant could go on a rampage taking it. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, I forgot. You're one of those guys. Because she knows I'm a writer. And she's like, well, fentanyl itself wouldn't do anything, but depending on what they cut it with, yes, you could definitely put an elephant on a rampage. I'm like, all I needed to know. Thank you. because when I want an elephant to go on a drug-fueled rampage on fentanyl, I want to be, scientifically accurate.
Okay, very good. I think I'm going to take advantage of you being here because one of our chatters, Resistance Homesteading, says, "You guys, I'm really worried about monkeypox and bird flu. Do you have any advice?"
Yeah, stay away from monkeys. And don't worry about the birds because they're not real. The birds don't carry. The birds only carry disease if you see them leaving the contrail. Other than that, they're not real. They're just drones.
There we go. Except for all the times I had a cat that was born of a feral mother, and then but was hand raised. Great cat, loved the family and everything. I swear, feralness is in the genes because that cat could not stay inside ever, and he killed like a mofo. Like he would drag in animals that were twice his size. And yeah, he was awesome. I freaking loved him. But when
I can't believe my two cats haven't interrupted the show.
Anyway, I can guarantee birds are real because of all the guts.
That's what they stuff into them. I mean, it's like, when actors are playing shoot 'em up roles, they wear these squibs, so that when they get shot, they explode.
You're right.
Because they stuff it with meat product, just in case one crashes.
Or it gets caught by a cat.
Yeah, there'll be, and of course the cats want it because they can smell the spoiling meat product inside the carcass of the.
Well, like I had said earlier, I never know what's going on, so I just kind of live life in the mindset of like I'm probably just a crazy person. And I got to also give a shout out to Nightcap with Nancy for popping in as well. It's funny. I now have realized why people do 3, 4, 5 hour streams. It's because everybody comes like an hour or two later. And I'm like, oh, that's when the party starts.
It's like the best orgy ever. Everybody, I'm sorry, I didn't say that. Edit. We can fix that in post, right? If you like conspiracy theory stuff, though, you'd like my cats. I have 2 kittens. They're 5 months old. They're named Schrodinger and Heisenberg. And I tell people, it's like, I don't know what they're doing until I look in on them. And then as soon as I look at them, they change their behavior. So
they do.
Oh, they do. So hence their names. The dog next door is named Tesla, not mine. Just was a coincidence.
I think the first time I was ever paranoid of a neighbor, me and my sister were in the swimming pool and talking about getting, if we were ever able to get a dog that was black and brown, like a German Shepherd or a Rottweiler, we would name him Snickers. 2 months later, our neighbor got a Rottweiler and named him Snickers. And I'm like, dude, how long has that guy been spying on us while we're in the pool?
He's been listening over the fence. Schrodinger heard her name.
Oh, what a cutie. That's a little cat.
Yeah,
that's a kitten still.
They were both born on Good Friday. They're sisters. And this one's a lap hoarder. Her sister likes to be picked up all the time. And of course, since I got them so young, they've imprinted on me. So when it's bedtime, they're like all around my feet and herding me towards the bedroom. Like it's time.
Are they really?
Let's go.
That's cute.
And I'll get in bed and they'll just like, it's like a mama cat. They just like snuggle up against my side real as close as they can. I'm like, roll over at night. Roll over at night. Roll over at night.
Yeah, that's the thing that I love and is also weird about cats is you never know. I believe cats do have their own personality from birth, and you can pick up a kitten and you're not going to know if he's going to be a total asshole and be one of those cats, Yeah. But yes, I'm going to tell you a little anecdote because I am the queen pet picker of my family to the point of like almost magic. And I'm going to give you an example. My daughter, and this was already established before this happened, but my daughter, when she was like 12, came up to me and said, Mom, I want a black cat with green eyes and I want to name him Mr. Midnight because it was something in a game. Right. And I said, well, we can't go out and look for animals. They come to us. Not 5 days later, I'm at work down in the garage and a black cat with green eyes that's a little emaciated and obviously needs a home comes up, meow, meow. And I work upstairs in the office and I'm like, okay, this is weird. That's the cat my daughter wanted. The cat freaking follows me up to my office, hangs out in my office, follows me back down the stairs at the end of work and hops in my car.
Of course. Why not?
Yes.
That's how they call an Uber.
Yes, I was like, and he was the best cat. I just freaking loved him.
Well,
Like
cats that pick you are always.
yes, they really are. And yeah, I mean I bet you do this, RJ. Do you make up a whole stories and do you like anthropomorphize your animals and give them voices?
I do.
Okay,
We just went through a whole session of that tonight, didn't we? Yes, we did.
Okay. Do they have voices that sound different than yours?
They do. In fact, they have voices that sound different from each other, and they feel different. Like in the middle of the night, I can tell which one has called, and if I put my hand out and I touch them, Heisenberg has a much silkier, almost like a mink feel, and Schrodinger here is a little bit more wiry in the hair texture. So you wouldn't believe they had the same mother, but they had different fathers. Guaranteed that one. Cats are the only animal that don't realize what species they belong to. Dogs know their dogs. Ducks know their ducks. Rabbits know their rabbits. Squirrels do squirrel things. Cats are whatever animal they got raised with. And you can find video documentation evidencing this. If you have a kitten raised with rabbits, it will hop around. If you have a cat raised with a dog, it will and whenever it feels happy. They imprint like that. Yeah, you do.
They're very interesting. Well, I gotta say, thanks to Flip City, and I would say RJ as well. I just got to explain Schrodinger and Heisenberg to Nightcap with Nancy. Where else do you get intellectualism like that?
Yeah, exactly. Now this is continuing. It's a new trend for my cat names. Throughout my life, my cats have been named Persephone, Antigone, Calliope. I went through Greek muses and goddesses, and then we had a Persian cat that lived forever, and her name was Shahrazad.
Wow!
Because she was Persian, so I named her after the princess in 1001 Nights and a Night.
That is quite wow. Now I feel bad about all my stupid animal names.
All your fuzzy butts out there. Like why can't I get a name like this? I am a cat. I should deserve something with dignity.
Well, I'll tell you, the way I got my little black dog is a few weeks before he showed up. I said, I want a little black dog, so I can name him Sharpie. And then he showed up 3 weeks later.
You're like the kid in, you're like the little kid in Good Omens. It's like when the Antichrist. Oh, got to read the book. Don't. The series is okay. Read the book.
Okay.
Yeah. The Antichrist is on Earth. But when they were supposed to, when the nuns of the Chattering Order were supposed to swap the Antichrist with the ambassador's son, a local farmer, his wife got pregnant. She just showed up, said, "I need to deliver." So now there's 3 of them, and it became a 3-card Monty, and they lost the Antichrist. So he grew up in a normal home, and it's his 11th birthday. It's like, this is his coming of age thing. We send the Hellhound. The Hellhound will find the Antichrist, and he will he will do his bidding and conquer the world. And the Hellhound appears on Earth, and it's on the other side of the fence, and it's snarling and it's big. And the boy is there talking with his 3 friends. He's like, "Yeah, what do you want for your birthday?" "I want a dog." "Oh, yes, call me." Like, "I don't want a big dog." And the dog shrinks down. She's like, "I don't really want a smart dog. I just want a dog that'll follow me around and chase the ball." And the mighty hound of hell that was ready to conquer the world becomes this mixed mutt puppy that just isn't capable of doing anything except staying at this kid's heels and chasing a ball and bringing it back.
Oh, that sounds actually like a really fun story. And you said definitely the book, not the movie.
No, well, there was an Amazon series. In fact, they made a second series, which is interesting because only the first series has the book, and Neil Gaiman wrote it with Terry Pratchett. And I was at a book signing with him once, and I said, "Hey, are you ever going to do anything more with the 2 main characters, Crowley the demon and Aziraphale the angel?" And Neil was very Neil. Like, "I don't think so. Well, one thing, Terry's quite busy these days. He's practically Lord Pratchett. He owns half of England. So I don't think we're going to have the time to get around to doing it. I do know, that if I were to ever pick up and use Aziraphale in a story, because that was, Terry's character, if I ever used Aziraphale in a story, I'm sure Terry would come around and break my fingers. If he ever used Crowley, I'd kill him.
Okay. People are very intense about their IP.
Yes, they are. Well, it was a shared IP thing, but now, now that Terry has passed, suddenly we have a second Good Omen story out there, and Neil's collecting the money on it.
Well, there we go. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if Dirt's covering you, right? Oh,
No.
well, I mean, I guess unless you were trying to create something for your family to have and all that kind of stuff, maybe there.
Oh yeah, but you think here's the thing: he's not making more for his family, so here's a way
That's
for
true.
somebody to make more for the family.
Yeah.
I'm sure the Discworld books are still keeping the Pratchett estate in cheddar, but
Right. Very, very, very good. Hey, RJ, I think we're going to go ahead and start wrapping our show up. And what a lovely way to wrap it up as well. Ending with like having some pets involved and just random chit chat. I really like that.
You said we were going to start rapping. I thought I was going to have to break some beats, so I'm glad you finished that sentence.
Oh, well, I do have some sweet rhymes for you, but I'm no good at it. Anyway, let's wrap up the show. I just wanted to do a last chat check. It looks like over on YouTube that our chat has kind of been speaking with each other, but I'm going to read out some pet names. So Nightcap with Nancy says our cats' names are Merlin, Nimue, Kalia, Pedro, Skyla, Daisy, and Callie. That's a lot of cats, you guys. I'd hope
And then
they're
she continued the Camelot theme with her dogs.
Yeah. Oh, they have 13 chickens, 9 guineas, 4 rabbits, 4 dogs, and 7 cats. Now,
that sounds like John Denver's Grandma's Featherbed song.
Oh, and also 3 goats who are named Sadie, Poppy, and Koza. Wow.
Yeah, you need to look up John Denver's Grandma's Featherbed and play that. I think you'll relate.
Was that a John Denver song? Because I think I only ever heard the Dolly Parton version.
Oh yeah, it was John Denver.
He's wonderful. And
Didn't
then
get much sleep, but we had a lot of fun on Grandma's featherbed.
Hangton Alien Surfer, what is up over on Pilled? Thank you for checking in. And I don't believe that anybody ever joined us over on X or Rumble. No biggie. All right, cool. Well, hey, if there's anything, where is the best place, RJ, for people to find you? And parting messages.
The criticalblast.com website has everything on it, but to contact us at Critical Blast on just about any social media platform. I do respond more on X than I do on Facebook. Facebook sucks, but I like going there. But yeah, if you our DMs are wide open on X. Said it. I've said X twice now. I kept telling.
You said wide open.
Well, yeah. What she said. But I told Elon, quit trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen. It's always going to be Twitter. But it's Twitter. We're our DMs on Twitter. Critical Blast. Hit us there.
Wow, but you really said X. Because I'm actually in your same camp. I'm never calling it X.
But I just did.
It's kind of the same thing with Big Lots. I called it Pick and Save for years, but I call it Big Lots now.
Did it used to be Pick and Save?
Yeah.
I thought they were separate. I thought they were 2 separate animals. Like I go into Big Lots. I'm like, wow, this is a lot like Fred's.
Oh, I don't know what Fred's is.
It's the same thing.
Okay. I'm pretty sure
Oh,
Pick
it's
and
not an
Save
Ollie.
became Big Lots, but now you have me second guessing myself. I don't know. It could be a Mandela effect.
It's not as good as an Ollie's.
A what?
Ollie's. Have you never been to an Ollie's?
No, but I'm Southern Californian, so we probably don't have it.
Okay.
That sounds like a like Midwestern thing.
I found 2 of them in Kentucky when I was driving through there last month. And yeah, if a store goes bankrupt or they can't sell something, it goes to Ollie's for like pennies on the dollar. And I've been picking up just oodles of graphic novels. Like there was a collection of all 12 Watchmen, all 12 issues in a hardcover version in a slipcase, retailed for like $125. You can get it there for $17.
Wow. Okay, you heard the man. Ollie's. If you come across Ollie's, go check it out. I have actually seen an advertisement for Ollie's on my weird Samsung TV because I don't think they target like regions. But now I'm jealous. I want cheap shit. Anyway, I'm relegated to Amazon for that. Which, by the way, I got 24 cans of tuna today for $13.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I was kind of proud of myself. Anyway, all right. Well, that was the last random thought. A quick Flip City plug is what I do next. So go check out Flip City Magazine for free at flipcitymag.com/free-magazine if you want to get right to the free magazine. But our website's not too bad either. So that's flipcitymag.com. Thank you so much to my producer, Cosmic Grandpa, and my regular sidekick, Batman, who I am hoping gets back here sooner than later. Check them out on Sunday nights over on pill.net at 6 p.m. Here we are.
7.
Say it.
7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. And find all our links
Sundays
at 3beermen.tv.
Yay. We got a nice little man behind the curtain voice there from our awesome producer, Cosmic Grandpa. I can't thank you enough. Normally I would announce next week's guest, but I am really behind in booking. I kind of got RJ last week at the last minute to tell me. And I don't have a guest for next week. So backstage, you're going to tell me who I should invite on next week, who you think is going to be a wonderful guest for Creative Chaos. And I guess good night, everybody. Have a good Practice Friday rest of the night. Bye.
You know the theory that all gay bashers are secretly gay? I don't think that's true, because if that were true, then that would make my dad secretly an Arab. Because Arabs are fucking gay, right? But seriously, ew, is that a woman? Cover it. Gross, a clitoris? Cut it out. Who's running the Middle East? Uncle Joey from Full House?
You ever wonder if maybe Kennedy wasn't shot at all? Some theories claim that Kennedy had unprecedented access to the FBI, CIA, and Vatican archives, all thanks to him being the first Catholic president of the United States and all. During a moment of deep contemplation on a Friday afternoon in Dallas, Texas, Kennedy reached total enlightenment, causing his pineal gland to explode. But if you ask this skeptic, it wasn't enlightenment that this president was trying to achieve.
touching their faces, not socially distancing, acting as though we're not still in the middle of a worldwide pandemic. Selfish. For all they know, I could have a deadly immune disease. I don't. But what if I did? They don't know that. But their kids aren't even vaccinated. Little disease vectors, germ factories. Unclean, each and every one of them, but not me. Science deniers. Racists. Tucker Carlson. Watching. Carlson. Conspiracy theorists. Carlson. Maybe someday I'll meet someone who takes the precautions as seriously as I. We'll share a bubble together. We're in this together inside of this.
The cases are going up. The cases